went to that cross and died that our faith may be increased. Lord God, that we might know without a shadow of a doubt that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. So we thank you and we praise you this morning. It is in Jesus' precious name that we pray. Amen. This is a Tuesday. And remember, we talked Monday about Daniel in the lion's den. You know, there's going to be people that's going to turn their backs on you. There's going to be people that are going to lie on you. They're going to misrepresent you. They're going to turn their backs on you. But we must remain faithful in every situation. Just like in Daniel, in the 6th chapter of Daniel, the administrators, they tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel and his conduct in the governmental affairs, but they were unable to do so. Keep in mind that when you are doing God's work and you are faithful, the enemy will do anything to derail and distract you from the appointed task that God has assigned for you. You know, I've walked in the lion's den, but 12 years ago, I had to go through the lion's den. At that time, the lion's den was diagnosed with rectal cancer. I was told by my doctor that I needed surgery to remove it. I was already familiar with this deadly beast called cancer. Earlier in my life, this deadly beast had already claimed the life of my mother through thyroid cancer. She was only 44 years old. Then 9 years later, my mother's death. After my mother's death, I lost my youngest son when this ravenous beast claimed his life through prostate cancer. He was only 19 years old. I saw this ravenous beast destroy my mother, and I watched as it consumed the life of my 19-year-old. Then I too was in the lion's den of this ravenous beast called cancer, and all I had to rely on was my faith. And with the same power that God shut the lion's mouth in Daniel's situation, he also did it in my situation. My God did deliver me from the mouth of this beast called cancer, and my faith sustained me because I walked by faith and not by sight. My brothers and sisters, there are going to be times when you're going to have to walk by faith and not by sight. And you must remember, the enemy comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. You know, faith teaches us, because faith shifts you from fear thinking to faith thinking. Faith helps you stop looking at life through wounds, past failures, and fears. Remember, brothers and sisters, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
morning, everybody, and welcome into a Tuesday edition of Ask Your Neighbor. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day today, and nice of you to tune in with us here this morning. This morning, we have a guest in the studio, a young lady by the name of Delaney Davis. Ms. Davis, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And you had contacted me here a while back. You had some concerns about, from lack of a better explanation, the automated boxes that we have on our homes that utility companies, smart meters that utility companies are using to monitor what goes on in our houses. Mm-hmm. And you were telling me some of this stuff, and you asked if you could tell folks about it. And I thought, yeah, okay. So I just want you to explain, I guess, kind of your thoughts and the information you've gathered.
Okay. Well, I started back in November at the CUB town hall meetings.
Yes.
And I brought my concerns about the smart meters on our homes and all the things that go along with the smart meters on our homes. Just for a little background, I'm a veteran. I was in the Army, and we had classes on the technology that they're using, and they have the towers in our neighborhoods.
Okay.
To put people down without sending soldiers in. So not just that, there's the data security risks. In other states, the utility companies have worked with the police to report your usage if it's, if they think that your usage is too high. There was a case.
So if there's something suspicious, they say, hey, Ron's house is using like 10 times the regular electricity. He might be making meth. You need to go check it out.
They did a SWAT raid in a different state. You can find the news story on YouTube. A guy was on all of his medical equipment. So they did a full SWAT raid
based on the usage from the smart meter.
Yes, because they were, and that's just unconstitutional in my opinion.
Sure.
And I fought for those rights. So no one else is speaking up against this stuff. There are health concerns. The frequencies affect how the bees do their job, and they're not coming back. I'm an avid gardener. I've got a vegetable garden and all the flower gardens, and we're just not seeing the bees like we are since the 5G tower went up in 2020.
Oh, wow. So you have a direct correlation.
Yes, I've had health concerns that I've personally dealt with. And we eliminated all the other options of what it could be. Turns out I'm sleeping on the wall with the smart meter on my home.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't having the reactions because we weren't getting the same frequencies before the towers went up.
Oh, wow.
Landis & Gear is actually the manufacturer of the meters that are on our homes. And they have lots of lawsuits and litigations against them, for instance, concerning the smart meters. A judge ruled in 2014 that analog meters withstand hot sockets better than smart meters, and analog meters are also generally immune to the line voltage surge events, which can lead to catastrophes and digital meter failures. Smart meters increase the risk of fires. This directly contradicts the industry narrative that smart meters are safe.
Who came up with that? They said they lead to more fires?
Well, you can go to nlrb.gov. Mm-hmm. The case number is 16-CA-103 387.
Okay.
But that's not the only lawsuits. There in 2016 to 2018, Muck Rock Public Records lawsuit. They were suppressing information about their meters to the public, and they were in a lot of trouble for that. They've also faced lawsuits in California, particularly with PG&E for the fires and the safety hazards. Also, a wrongful death suit was filed in connection with the smart meters there as well.
Okay.
There is a data privacy case that's ongoing with
the data that they collect from our homes and how much we're using, when we're using,
and how they're paying, and if they're paying taxes on it.
Oh, wow.
So they're not immune to the tax man either.
Oh, wow.
So it gets a little deeper than that. So
So your concern is that these meters, that we didn't have the option to opt out of this technology.
Yes,
and that's
I was after a free opt-out. And I said, you give me the free opt-out, you'll never see me again. And they said, we're autonomous, and we don't answer to anybody. My experience at the meetings has been, it all gets deferred back to the manager. Nobody goes out of their way to learn anything about anything that the public brings. They have told me with their own words that they're there to write policy and that everything else is deferred.
You're speaking about the CUB board now.
Yes.
Who is the chairman of the CUB board right now?
I am struggling with names.
Okay, that's all right. I know a couple of folks that are on the CUB board, but I wasn't sure who chaired it right now. It's not important. I was just curious. So it all comes down to, if they're going to this technology, you have worries about it.
Yes.
You've researched the technology.
Yep.
And then you took it to them to say, hey, here are my issues. You feel like they weren't hearing you, so you want to come here and tell everybody about it.
They're doing more than not hearing me. They're suppressing the information, and they've never done an EPA study since they started implementing this technology in 20 years.
To check to see if there's a difference in the environmental issues from when they had analog to digital.
Prove me wrong if there's nothing. Why has a study never been done?
Had we done one prior?
No, never.
So we haven't really done.
And the year before this technology was implemented was when their autonomous charter was created. I'm sure there's no correlation there.
So now CUB's been autonomous
since 2004.
Okay.
Was when the ordinance. Let's see.
I
Their
thought
charter
it was before
is Ordinance 456.
Okay. With the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they were.
2005 is when they started implementing the smart meter technology on our homes without our permission or without an opt-out. There was one paper, a news, Clinton Courier article that was written about it, saying this is what we're doing, and that's all that they've done.
And so, what made you look towards your smart meter as the source of problems?
I was having a lot of health problems. And I'd done all the other things. I did the fasted and prayed. To be honest with you, I believe God took me down the road of, He just started opening doors and putting people in my life that started helping me with the information gathering. But I'd seen the doctors and I'd done the tests and I had the diagnosis and nothing was working, and I didn't believe that was my story. So I have a science degree as well.
Okay. And
I started digging into the holistic side, like what could this outside source, what could be causing the problems that I'm having? And that's how I stumbled upon all of the information and took the deep dive down. It caused we live in East Tennessee. There's mold. We've got lots of moisture, lots of mold.
Yes.
And that was where I began, really. The technology reacts, the frequencies. The mold thinks it's in danger and releases microspores, and it can cause mold to grow at a 600,000 times the rate of normal mold growth.
You're talking about the RF, the radio frequency that comes off of the meter, the things that they use to broadcast back to the truck when they come by, so they get it. That frequency can cause
mold. They all act together in as a mesh. So the street lights have it, the 5G towers, our smart meters, it's called RF mesh.
Yes.
That's what the manufacturer calls it. So they have less blips in the system. They have more connections to get our power back up. That's the only reason.
So this was all born out of the convenience to be able to turn things back on quicker or reroute. They can also reroute. Greg told us that when he was here in February.
Yes.
So
we've traded our convenience.
Tell people exactly what you found and how you found it or where you found it, that these meters, the problems that they can cause.
Well,
mold,
Yes, and it's a terrible problem. So when the microspores are being released from the mold that's literally everywhere in our environment, in our homes, everywhere, we breathe that in. And then that mold gets turned into whatever in our bodies, and it's misdiagnosed as autoimmune diseases or, a skin condition. And the correlation is the mold. And this technology makes the mold grow faster, substantially faster, 600,000 times.
Is the technology used in other stuff? Like if you've got a smart refrigerator that talks back and forth?
Absolutely, there is.
Okay.
But the capabilities of those smart things in your home didn't have the effect that they have now that the towers are there to help power and send surges.
So it's the building.
Stronger.
It's the building of the network.
Absolutely.
Similar to kind of like what people talk with 5G. You know what I mean? The building up of the network.
And these towers are already 6G capable. So what if we don't take a stand now? What's to keep them from implementing that behind our backs as well? What's the next? It was all done in 2020, and I'll tell you, like I told the board at CUB, I felt like they came in sneakily in the night, put these things on our house without giving us any information or doing any due diligence at all. Yeah. And it was all about the money.
So did they debate you on whether or not they had done due diligence? Did they offer any due diligence?
No, they told me they hadn't. Every question that I asked, they answered.
So how you practically can't answer this. How did our local utility and hundreds of others across the country, I'm sure, come to the decision that these were good? Was it the manufacturer said, here, you can catch more electricity, therefore bill more, usable out, whatever it is?
Well, it depends who you ask.
Okay.
Ask me again. Let me see if I can rework this. I'm so sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what made our utility and those, around the country, I guess, feel like it was a good thing to implement this technology? Is it the manufacturer? They just came out and sold it to them, said, hey, here's an idea. It's great technology. It's safe technology. You'll make more money. The customer will save more money.
You'll make more money.
Okay.
So they don't have to pay meter readers anymore.
True.
TVA buys our extra.
Yes.
They like $70,000 it was last month we made off TVA, our utility company.
Yes, selling back to them.
Right. And those profits that are being made are not being passed on to the customer. This is their direct words, used to improve their infrastructure.
Yes.
So instead of passing the savings on to the customers, they're putting more technology out there that puts us at greater risk, and I believe is unconstitutional.
Okay.
They ought not to know how long we watched our TV or if our refrigerator was optional, or be able to turn our power down certain times during the day, or charge us more for power during other times of the day.
Even when you sign up for something like Apple Pay or whatever, there's a bunch, we don't read it, but there's a bunch of little bitty fine print that will tell you we're collecting your data, we're selling your data, we will sell your data to a third party, they might sell your, it tells you everything that you might or might not be in for if you take time to read it. Your problem is we didn't get any fine print.
We didn't get anything.
There wasn't anything on a bill. So you didn't have the option to say, I'll pass.
And we don't have anybody currently sitting the board that is willing to go against the narrative, that is willing to take a stand on how it all, it's easier to take a stand before before they put it in place than it is to have it reversed. And
I could see where board members might be hesitant to just adopt everything that you're saying, but I don't see why they aren't taking a moment to do some investigating on their own, or maybe even bring in an outside source and say, hey,
a third party source that isn't benefiting off of the results of the study.
Sure. So you've went to how many board meetings have
I've been to 4, and I spoke at City Council this month.
Okay. And when you went to the CUB board members, did they let you talk about this so that folks would know?
They let me speak for my 3 minutes.
Yes.
Mostly I was asked out. We had a private meeting where I did sit down with them for an hour and a half and rehash all
Who'd
of
you
the
sit
stuff.
down with?
I sat down with Greg and Todd.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were wonderful. They let me talk.
Okay.
but I didn't feel heard, and I was just greeted with the same misinformation that they had given me publicly, privately. It just felt like, they weren't willing to hear what I had to say. They were citing studies from 2009, and here we are.
So that's what I was getting ready to ask you. You had mentioned that. So when you went and you said, I don't think these are safe, why do you think they are? They said, because we've got this great study from 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, 3 years, 20 years,
in 2009, they said they were safe.
Okay. And nothing's been done or looked at since then?
Nothing.
Has the technology, just go buy a 2009 car versus a 2026 car. Has the technology in the boxes that were okay in 2009 when they did the study changed today? It would just assume if they've grown like other technology, then there might be a need for a new study for the new technology that's upgraded to boxes.
And that's definitely a point that I've made. The problem that I have with it, another problem that I have with it is, so the utility company is only responsible for the meter itself. If it were to cause a fire or to cause a problem in your home, because they slapped these things without checking any of the existing wiring on anybody's home, on old homes, on new homes. So without checking whether the existing electricity was even capable of supporting the new technology, they slapped them on these homes.
Now, let me ask you this with that. My old home that I had here in Clinton, I bought it in 98, and I remember I did an addition, an add-on. And when they did the add-on, they said, hey, come here and look at this. And it was the old electrical that was like cloth wrapped,
Mm-hmm.
And they said, this is like 1940s, 50s technology, and you might want to look at updating this at some point, because now we've got new stuff over here and old stuff over here.
There's an overload.
Exactly. Yeah. So my point, I was going to ask you, because I know mine was not the only house on Riverside Drive here in Clinton that was built in that time era, and also I know it was
built in 36,
and I know it was also pretty costly. I want to think back; it was something like $4 or $5 grand, maybe to redo the wiring. It might have been more than that. I can't remember. It's been a long time. So, just with that, and their own folks cautioning about mixing new with old, back in the day. Do they not hold the same concern mixing new with old now? Because now these boxes are on houses like that.
Right. And they didn't check anything on, that was already existing on the house. They slapped them on with no concern, because if there is a problem caused and there is a surge in your house and they can say that it wasn't the meter related, you're responsible for everything that happened. The box that's attached to your home, you're responsible for.
Okay.
It's just the meter that they will take responsibility for. So when these things are causing problems, they're saying, not our problem, it was your wiring.
And do they refer back to the manufacturer? Do they say, hey, look, they say they're safe, they say they're this, they say they're that, and that's why we implemented them? What's their...
The manufacturer on their own website says the opposite of everything they've told me about what the manufacturer said.
Really?
They've said there's no radio frequency emitted through the PLC, and that's why they implemented it.
Did you bring some of that with you?
I'd be happy to send you whatever you want. I've got a
I would just like to see what the manufacturer says about the box.
We can pull it up together if you want.
That's okay, but we can do at some point. But I'm curious if the manufacturer has warnings about the box. And
they've got litigation against them.
And CUB is saying that they don't. It sounds like that there's a disconnect between what's going on maybe with the manufacturers and problems they're having and CUB. I think
it's all about the money is what it really boils down to. They've implemented all this. They've gotten the grants for it. They're getting paid off the power from them that we're able to supply TVA with, our overages. And I think all of that is wrong. And
with the overages, I'll talk just a little bit about that because I'm familiar with it because I've got a full solar system on the radio station and we generate power.
Nice.
And TVA buys that power. So anything that we generate, and it's not set up so that we can use it. The way we were going to set it up is we were going to make power and use it, and then when we needed it, use the electricity and try. But TVA wouldn't let us do that. Mm-hmm. The way that we had to do it was we can generate it, but we had to sell it back to them or completely just store it and work off of it. It's been a while since we did it, but I'm kind of familiar with that because TVA will buy, whether you're using analog or whether you're using digital or whatever. If you we don't create electricity. They create electricity. We distribute electricity.
Right.
So I don't know how CUB is getting paid for creating electricity back. Is it that they get it, they buy it from TVA, we don't need it because these smart meters are, and then they sell it back?
My understanding from the meetings is that there were grants in place. They got money to implement this technology. And that for last month, for sure, they got $70,000 back. Now, how they do that and if they get the check written right off, there isn't any transparency with this board is another problem. They're fully autonomous is the word that they like to use. And that my concerns were de minimis. So de minimis was the word used multiple times. So that's where they stand on it. It is it's a non-concern to them.
I find it perplexing a little bit. I mean, I can understand if you've got the data and, to have a debate. But if they don't, I mean, and you're saying that they are basically just saying, we've got this 2009, and we've got a 2009 instruction book that we're using in 2026. Mm-hmm. And your fear is that it's not.
And I sent articles, studies, and everything. They asked me to send it through the manager and that he would delegate that information down through the board. And when I addressed the board about why no one had responded to the information that I had sent, they said they had never received it. So the information was not passed down. Nobody's looking into it. And
if you'll send me the information, I will promise you this. I can put it in the hands of somebody that could do something about it. And I will promise you, if they tell me they read it, they'll read it. So if you'll send me all that, I will pass it along.
I'll get an email for you before I leave here.
Ron at merlefm.com.
Yeah,
I'll send it. I will. I'll send it to some folks and ask them to read over it. So what is it that you just want people to do or know? That I'll tell you what, that there could be some danger in these meters, because I have a doctor that comes on here once a month, Dr. David Ayers. We do a program right here. The first Tuesday of every month, he comes, sits down, and we do Ask the Doctor. People call in, and he's talked about this a lot. He didn't want one on his house either, and he's talked about it from. In fact, I might put you in touch with Dr. Ayers.
I would love that. Thank
and then
you.
He could tell you from an MD standpoint, his concerns on what he's seen, and he's mentioned them here on the radio. So I believe you that there are certainly there's trepidation out there, not just, with doctors and with some other people.
But the fire and the data security, everything you plug into your home.
So we're talking about fire. Do we go back to new stuff with old lines and surges, or is there?
That's a lot of it's been buried and stuffed and hidden. Now you can get on YouTube and you can type in news stories related to smart meters, and you'll find lots and lots and lots and lots. Testimonials is really where you get your information, because people are willing to be called crazy names in order to tell the truth, and these companies are willing to be called crazy names to suppress the truth.
Has anyone across the country been successful in mediating a solution, in so much where I understand, the convenience of technology? My truck's a 1999. My wife drives a new Navigator. I drove her car and I was like, you know what I mean? It'll drive itself. Yes. And then all of a sudden now my truck's not fun anymore. It's like I need that technology. So I understand more from a business perspective to be more streamlined and stuff, the desire to do that. But I find it unusual that not just us, but people, across the country are implementing it without knowing about it. Have you found any utility that has been able to say, we've found a happy medium between worries of the consumer, overestimates or exaggerations of the manufacturer, and we can where they've been able to?
Some people offer opt-outs.
Okay, so some companies or some utilities do. Okay.
They do, and there are places across the world that have just opted out of the technology altogether and decided this is not for us.
Okay.
So you see.
But there are there's companies in the country right now,
that you can opt out.
And did our utility company, did CUB give you a reason why they didn't offer the opt-out?
Because they don't have to. Because they're autonomous, and they've decided no.
Have you had the opportunity to speak to any of the utility companies that did offer the opt-out to ask why? Because if a utility company across the United States of America said, well, I mean, it's just like a cell phone. They'll tell you, don't sleep with your cell phone to your ear because it puts out radiation.
Right.
They tell you that, right? So if there's a utility across the country somewhere that said, we offered an opt-out because we told people, hey, if you sleep next to it, just like sleeping next to your cell phone, it may not be good for you, so we offered an opt-out. If there was someone across the country that did that, I think that would certainly hold precedent to offer to a utility company, to our utility company, say, hey, look what Seattle did, or look what, Jonesboro, Arkansas did, or whoever.
The activists have been in charge of those. Every single time they just wanted that an opt-out was offered was because they were trying to make a group of people go away. In my research that I've come across so far.
Okay. But I mean, so they went ahead and said, all right, you guys, if you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But they just did it to, I guess, to quieten down the folks that were frustrated.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So to your knowledge, we don't have, outside of 2009, has the company that produces them done anything? Any studies?
Now, all the litigation that I mentioned before has happened since 2009.
And so there's current litigation going on right now?
Ongoing.
And what is, and I assume this is Landis and Gear that we're talking about?
We are.
And that's the company that builds the boxes that's on all of our homes here in Clinton.
Well, they don't build them.
Oh, okay.
China builds them.
They just
our best friend's China.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, they're their boxes that we're talking about.
They are their boxes. These are all Landis and Gear lawsuits that I've brought before you now.
Tell me some of the things that they're being sued for just in layman's terms. Illness?
Well, I'm sorry?
Illness? They're making people...
Oh, yeah, there are.
And then privacy?
Privacy, they've been sued for destruction of documents that the public, to suppress information about their meters.
Again, this is the parent company that we're buying them from.
Exactly. And that was a PG&E lawsuit, that one that I just told you about. Wrongful death, health injuries from radio frequency exposure, the private data, data privacy is the one that's still ongoing. There's lots of them.
Okay.
Fire safety and negligence. That was in 2012. Alleged meters were not properly assembled, and there was fatal fire incidents.
So there's manufacturing problems in the actual meters as well that we're buying from China.
Yes.
And let me ask you this, what's your goal today? To get somebody at CUB's attention to take it seriously?
Yes, if we all stand together and we use our voice, what needs to happen so I've applied to sit on the board at CUB.
Okay.
I turned my application into the mayor at our meeting with the city manager and the mayor last month, my meeting.
Yes.
And I'll know July 1st if I'll get to sit. We need some accountability on this board.
Sure.
And I don't want to be the one to have to do it. I really don't. But I gave them my word at that board that I wasn't going to go away and that this is a concern and that other people may not have the courage to stand up against the big bad wolf. But if God sends me, he's already made the way.
Is there anything else you want folks to know about this that we haven't covered, or anything that you need the audience to know?
I need the audience to know that in order for us to get some accountability on the board at CUB, the city charter needs to be back in control of the city. Our city owns that charter.
What makes you think that?
But we have no say-so in it.
And again, I'm going to make Scott mad now, but what makes you think that the city is going to be any more transparent than the folks that granted autonomy to the CUB?
Well, this is the reason I'm not walking away.
And
buddy.
I'm not. And
this
Scott,
is the reason I'm not walking away.
If the city's listening, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why do you think one government agency is better than the other?
I don't. I just think that it's time that somebody start asking these questions that's not afraid to,
don't you
for the
think,
backlash.
Do you feel that if somebody, you or somebody like you that has a concern was placed on the board, that in itself could be the transparency needed?
I do think that somewhere the transparency yes, some accountability.
Your goal is not necessarily to make it a city entity again. Your goal is to get transparency so that people can know what they're buying, know what they're being.
We need to have a member of the public that doesn't care more about the money than the people that are,
Sure.
the customers of the city. And we don't currently have that.
Well, now, I know some of the board members, and I might disagree
I would
a
love
little
to
bit.
meet with them and have chimichangas sometime, okay? Good friends. We disagree
Yes.
on the stand that needs to be taken at this moment in time.
In fact, one of the board members has texted me. But I do know some, and I think they would be willing maybe to sit down and talk to you. Maybe one.
Willing to sit down and talk is one thing. Willing to do something about it is completely different.
Okay.
And so the city needs someone to take a stand. And if it has to be me, then it will be. I'm raising my child here. I'm next door neighbors to the 5G tower. I've dealt with the health concerns, the convictions on my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And if God sends me, he's made a way.
Do you care if I see if our listeners have any questions for you? Because I don't know. You're obviously way more versed in this than me.
And I am no expert by any means. I am just been. I love research, and I don't have any degrees in it. It's true to my heart.
And see, and I know most of the people at CUB. Some of them are very good friends of mine, and I know they're good people. And so I don't know.
Oh, that is not in question.
No. I know that. But I would, if we have this going on, I'm not debating whether we do or whether we don't. I'm letting you present your case. I'm going to say it's because they haven't educated themselves. And
I agree.
And somebody outside of the political, the normal
somebody that's
clicks.
Not getting paid.
I say clicks. That sounds negative. Well, everybody on the board, I think, gets a little bit,
right.
Not a whole lot,
but you know that's not public information. Even though that the city owns, you cannot find the salaries or stipends of any board member that sits on CUB. I find that to be. It's not. Nope. I promise you, I wouldn't have said that out loud with misinformation on the radio. I respect.
I'm going to say I've got a number in my head, but I can't.
Their salaries and stipends are not public information. I did at one meeting request their financial records, and those were omitted. That wasn't on the financial records I was given.
I'm gonna ask how much this person makes to see if I think I know what the board members.
My point is, it's city owned.
You'd like to know.
And there's no transparency.
Well, it's a public utility. Even if it's not city owned, it's a public utility. If you recall, our president in his first term removed the CU. Well, he didn't remove the chairman of TVA, but he dropped his salary from like $6 million to $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's obviously correlation between an autonomous utility company,
Absolutely.
TVA,
Mm-hmm.
and still the federal government or the government, which is us, we the people. So they can be autonomous. TVA beats that drum too.
Oh, I know. And it's as crooked as a dog's hind leg.
But I'm not going to argue with you. But the government, the president, at one point instructed them to do something, and they did it. And so my point is that I think there's still a place for oversight from the government, even on an autonomous utility company, because they are serving or hurting or helping the constituents of the city that's granted them autonomy. So there needs to be
Amen. A checks and balance.
A checks and balance. And I don't know, I would hope that nobody in my little friend group that's listening to me right now would disagree with checks and balance. I don't think. It's one of the things I've had my foot in politics for almost 40 years here on the radio. And we've had issues like this for, numerous times, numerous years. And sometimes people are trying to hide something. Sometimes they aren't. They're just,
ignorant.
They are. Or, I'll tell you, it's easy. And you probably know this. If somebody comes in, they say, hey, look, we can save you this much money. We can make the quality of your people this much better. Your customers, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this. And we've got 42 other utilities companies that are doing it. I can see why, you want to take people at their word. They come in. I'm sure there maybe did some background checks, but I can see why people would want to do it. Just like I was telling you about the car. Now all of a sudden I want lane changing safety.
Yeah.
I didn't want that before. I didn't care about it. So I can understand their desire to implement it. And I find it, and I'm not questioning you, please don't think, I find it hard to believe that they implemented it without doing a dive into other places. Were there, when we started implementing this, were there already questions about it, or were we one of the first? Had it been implemented before we started implementing
in other places? Absolutely.
And were there
it been banned in other places before we implemented the technology, like other countries that said, you know what, we're not interested in this because they did the studies. And
really,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And information has been suppressed. There's lawsuits against Landis and Gear for doing the exact same thing. If there's nothing to hide, then why are we hiding it?
That's okay. I thought I was right. Board members get $100 a month. I thought it was $150, but it's $100.
I'm not talking. I know necessarily just the board members. What about the people that have been there for 48 years? That
Well, Greg makes a lot of money.
Oh, he does. He has a gun range in his house, and we funded that as the taxpayers. I'd love to be invited to shoot there one day.
I'm not going to get into salary debates with you. I do find it.
It should be public information.
Really, I wouldn't mind that at all. I do find it interesting that there's solid data out there that there are questions. You know what I mean? That need to be asked and looked into. And I don't know what.
By a third party.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the reservation
None of the
is.
stuff that they've sent me was by a third party. All of the studies that they've sent.
We could cover a multitude of sins with a third party that come in and that say, hey, you're right on this, but you're wrong on this. You're right on that part, not on this. And then throw out the facts.
Right. But if you don't have a collective group of people that you're willing to listen to, you're not getting the
I
whole
promise
picture.
you there are other people like you out there, just simply because Dr. Ayers has been on the air with me for 18 years, and the day they started wanting to put a smart meter on his house, he's a intellectual genius on top of being a doctor. He did all the research and the deep dive, and he'll probably have other information you don't have.
I cannot wait to talk to him.
So I know that there are concerns. That I know you're not just pulling stuff out of the air willy-nilly off of Facebook or wherever and saying, "Oh, this is
giving
absolutely."
me the opportunity.
So that's part of this program's. That's what we do. Whether I agree with you, disagree with you, champion what you're doing or not, I want everybody to have their say, and then I let listeners and let them figure it out on their own. We just present the information and let them do with it what they want to do. So I would like to, if you don't care,
do it. Let's take a caller.
Let me see if we've got anybody that has any questions. Or again, and my friends at CUB know that I'm fair in all of it, but I would love if somebody from there would call and respond to it. Like I had Greg on the air last month.
Did you do that?
With
Did
me.
you take calls while Greg was on the air?
No, I don't
didn't
think
reckon.
I did. No, he would have. if
I'm happy to talk to anybody from CUB.
Usually what I will do is I will ask somebody before I get on the air. I didn't do that with you. Usually I'll ask if we take calls later or not. And then if they say, no, I don't want to take calls, I'll kind of gear my interview, away from that. But I don't recall, and Greg and I, we talked for like 2 hours. So he wasn't against taking calls. But that said, we'll open phones and see if anybody has anything to say about it. And again, if any of our friends on the board or what have you would like to call, I would love to hear from you. And the information you send me, if you ask me to keep it or to not to quote you, I won't quote you. I'm getting information. It's like, please don't quote me, but. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting some information. So anyway, we'll take a look at that. If anybody's got anything you'd like to say, add, or ask, our guest is Delaney Davis, and she is questioning the smart meters that have been put on our homes by CUB in fear of and in research of that they can cause illness, they can cause fires,
data security.
Your data security. And when you're talking about data security, are you talking about just that they can tell when your TV's on and off, or
I'm saying that if the grid is tapped into, they can see through your TV, your robot vacuum, they can, your house.
They're in your house.
Yes.
Okay. And so and the manufacturer of the boxes that are on our house right now are made from China.
Yeah, and there's tons of litigation against them.
And there's litigation against the people with the boxes. What happens if they lose that litigation? Everybody, in
a lot of the cases, they've just chosen to pay. Yes, settlements. Absolutely. It's way cheaper and they can afford to.
But let me ask you this as a concerned person. If somebody walked up to you and they were like, Ms. Davis, we'll give you $1 million to shut up.
It's not worth the money to me.
That's what I was getting ready to say. So I wonder, I assume there are others that have, especially going that far to bring a lawsuit. If it was dangerous, I would think that they would, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody foregoing money. I can't tell you that I would.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not just about money. When you get into arguments with people that are autonomous, then they're money's not the only repercussion. They can come. I've had friends that worked at CUB that I've been friends with for years and years that don't speak to me anymore because of how I'm speaking up against it.
Well, I know it sounds like you're being critical of CUB. And I understand that, but I don't necessarily think you're being critical of CUB as much as you're being of the technology behind these boxes, and whether or not CUB was fooled or not fooled, or it's right or wrong. Your frustration is they're not even looking at it.
Not even looking.
You would rather that you, like you just said earlier, prove me wrong. Please look into it and make me feel better.
Offer a free opt out for everybody that's concerned. Or look into this in some way, like somebody give a crap.
Yeah,
please.
So you're basically just asking, hey, CUB, this is worrying me, and I'm not the only person that's worried.
And I don't plan to be quiet about it anytime soon.
You're wanting them to look into it and give you some solid, fact-based
We all deserve
research.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's fair, and I think you can ask that without calling people, without assuming that people are trying to be deviant or trying to be, mischievous, whatever. Because I will tell you this, when it comes to power across TVA, and I researched this. I did it before Greg came on too, just to make sure. And one of my best friends was the chairman of La Follette Utility Board. So, and salary-wise, I don't know why. I guess because it's a lot of money generated, but all of the chairmen of utility boards make that kind of money. All of them. And as a matter of fact, in Clinton, ours is on the lower 50%, if you can believe that, at about a lot of money. A lot of money a year. So to say that someone is implementing technology in order to make money or whatever, I would say I don't see that, because they made money before this. They made tons of money when it was analog, and they're still making tons of money running these
They're
utilities.
Just saving a lot of money, not having to send out the meter. So, where's the savings?
Well,
why aren't the customers seeing any of it?
And we
were told that it was going to get better.
I did have this conversation with Greg, and part of the stuff that he told me they were using savings on, money they had saved. And I can't remember the name of the software, but part of the software that they came up with at CUB, they actually wrote some software, and the software works with the smart boxes and can turn stuff on and off. They used part of the money they saved to do that, implement that. He told about some other things that they were using savings for. Replacing poles, wooden poles to metal poles, and not, that way they don't have to come to the service payer to do that. They're being able to use money that they're either collecting back from CUB or that they're saving because of this. Again, I'm just
improving their infrastructure,
adding
more technology that makes us sicker and puts us at greater risk.
But now that. And I'm not debating you. You may be right. But I'm going to tell you something.
I'm just reminding everybody listening.
I will tell you something.
Okay.
I very greatly appreciate when my power's only out for 45 seconds and Powell and Knox County are out for a day.
Yeah.
And some of our utilities and Greg will boast about that because
of course, that's the only thing they got.
Well, because they did make that something that they wanted to accomplish to try and have better service time, better, less outages, things of that caliber. Whether or not the option they took to get there is dangerous or has ramifications that they didn't know or we didn't know when it happened is yet to be seen. And again, that's why you're here. So I'll open up the phone lines, 865-457-1380. I'm going to take a quick break. I heard the phone ringing a minute ago, and then I kept yapping. Call me, and we'll put you on if you've got a question for our guest or you've got a comment for our guest. You've got anything to share with anybody else, we'll do that. I will come back here in, let's see here. I'm going to come back here in 3 minutes exactly, and we will take your calls if you have them. And if not, we'll come back and speak more with our guest and wrap things up. All right, back in just a moment. This is Ask Your Neighbor on WYSH.
You've seen it on your phone. Now, feel it in real life. The noise hits harder. The speed feels borderline illegal. And the roar of the engine shakes your insides. This is Bristol, a place where you can be free, filled with mayhem and full send moments. It's NASCAR, April 10th through the 12th at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Food City 500 triple header race weekend. Grab your vintage NASCAR gear and gather your crew because trust us, this one hits different in person.
It's Bristol, baby!
Powell Clinch Utility District wants to make your next home improvement a success. Their appliances are made with you in mind to update your kitchen, laundry room, and provide you with endless hot water. Want to improve your outdoor living? PCUD sells griddles, grills, and fire pits, all powered by natural gas, so you never have to fill a tank again. They also offer appliance installation and 0% financing added directly to your monthly bill. Visit PCUD Showroom in Rocky Top, their website at pcud.org, or call 865-426-2822 to learn more. PCUD is your natural gas provider. Hammers is celebrating spring with bargains blooming everywhere. Every week, there are new shipments of ladies' famous label sportwear and men's branded clothing. Ladies and girls' trendy boutique fashions are always 25% off at Hammers. Check out the new arrivals of spring clothing and accessories from Simply Southern. Ladies and men's swimsuits have arrived just in time for spring trips to the beach. Enjoy hot deals on men's shirts, pants, and shorts from famous makers like Wrangler, Huck, Columbia, Magellan, Tommy Bahama, Drake, and many, many more. Continue your spring cleaning and save now on a truckload sale of throw rugs and area rugs. The spring silk flowers are in. Either make your own arrangements with stems and bushes from Hammer's beautiful assortment or purchase an arrangement made by our staff. Also, visit Hammer's Facebook and Instagram for daily deals. Come and see us at Hammer's, Clinton, Sevierville, Wartburg, Halls, and New Tazewell. If you miss a day, you miss a bargain.
Hammer's Discount Stores. If you haven't been to Hammers, you should see us now.
John Party, you are the newest member.
At my induction, standing there with artists I've always admired, like Garth Brooks. It was a dream come true. Let me tell you, being at the Opry is unforgettable. I've been fortunate enough to share that stage many times. During any Opry show, you can watch a rookie's dream come true at their Opry debut.
And the Grand Ole Opry debut of Jelly Roll.
You can take in a career-defining performance from your favorite country star.
Come on, Grand Ole Opry!
Or you can even catch an artist surprise invitation to join the Opry family.
We would love for Scotty McCreery to be the newest member of the cast.
Yes, I would love to.
Whether you're standing behind the microphone or right there in the crowd, Opry has a way of creating unforgettable music moments.
See your favorite artists at the Grand Ole Opry every week. And keep your radio tuned right here because we give away a pair of tickets to the Grand Ole Opry every Wednesday.
I'm John Party, and I'll see you at the Opry.
Saturday, March 14th, join 95.9 Rocks live at Revive Primary Care and Med Spa, 2221 Jacksboro Pike in La Follette, as we broadcast live from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Jay Carter will be live at Revive Primary Health Care and Med Spa. We'll have tons of 95.9 Rocks swag to give away, so stop by and see us. Revive Primary Care and Med Spa, 2221 Jacksboro Pike. Don't miss it. We'll see you Saturday, March 14th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Revive Primary Care and Med Spa, 2221 Jacksboro Pike, La Follette.
All right. Well, you know, I say this a lot. No news is good news, usually with no calls. But is there anything else that you would like folks to know about your concerns? And I know that my friends at CUB are going to say, well, some of these have been addressed and what have you, but you're not satisfied with some of the answers you've gotten.
No. Like I've said to them, you know, the repeating of misinformation doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many times you laugh or what you call me. Facts are facts. And the studies that I brought before them were from third party, you know, people that didn't have anything to gain from the results of the studies, and the studies that I got from them were the opposite, you know, paid for and bought.
Do you have other people that think the way you do here?
Absolutely.
On Clinton Utility Board?
Yes, not on the utility board.
No, I mean not working there. I mean that get their electricity from Clinton Utility.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A woman named Kathy, she fought the smart meters in Memphis. She now lives here in Clinton, and she had come and spoke up against the meters as well. She was actually in the private meeting with me with Greg and Todd.
Okay.
And she is a wealth of knowledge. She fought this for many, many years, and then in the end, they lost. But
are there places that have had them longer than us?
Sure.
And is there research inside of those areas, municipalities or whatever, of heightened illness? Or, I mean, is there a correlation that...
Absolutely, there are. And there are news stories. Like I said, you can go, you know, on YouTube and you can search smart meter news story. Like, it's been reported all over the country. The lawsuits are from all over the country against Landis and Gear, the people that make the meters that are on our homes. So if I can't show them what the manufacturer says and be, you know, not be told that this is valid information, that it's from some hoopty-law source when it's right off the manufacturer's website.
So off of Landis and Gear's website, you showed information.
I took the serial number off of my meter, plugged it in, found the exact meter that I was talking about, and read and researched about all of it.
And the RF that it put out.
Yes.
Your concerns.
Yes, even with the PLC. So like I said to you when we were taking a break, the radio frequency isn't a constant stream. It's not constantly being streamed. It happens in intermittent bursts, which is actually worse for your...
So let's back up just a moment and explain to people. We get our information here with Clinton Utility Board, and Greg talked about this. It feeds back through the lines, so we don't have to use the wireless technology to talk to them. However, we don't have people that go read the meters anymore because the meter talks back to the front office.
Just the water meters are still read.
Okay.
Because they can't make those smart. They'd have to have an antenna above the ground. They wouldn't get the signal that they needed in order to do that, or I'm sure they would have.
Gotcha. So we use that, and that their I guess response is we're not using the more dangerous technology of radio. Okay,
was the word used over and over again.
But your assertion is, okay, you're running the data back and forth over the line, which is safer than RF, but you're still using RF.
It's just intermittent bursts.
And what are they using it for that still affects these meters, thus vis-a-vis affects you? Do you see what I'm saying? If they're not using it to talk to the meter, and that's
they are using it to talk to the meter.
the radio, the RF.
Yes,
Okay.
and the PLC meters do the exact same thing. They're just not running a constant signal. They do it intermittently throughout the day.
So instead of just being on broadcasting all the time, they'll just broadcast at certain points in the time.
Right, to get their readings every couple hours or whatever it may be. Like, I've asked to see, where are we running? They want me to take their word for how often it's happening, but I live across from the substation and I can hear it buzz.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's emitting. So.
Okay. Hang on, let's see if we got a call. Good morning and welcome to Ask Your Neighbor on WYSH.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
I'm sorry to say I did not tune in till most of this conversation was over, and I'm finding this very interesting, and I didn't know anything about it. Is there a place, does she recommend a website or something where I can go and look this up? Because I really want to find out more, and like I said, I didn't tune in until she was done talking about.
Okay.
It depends on what it is that you want to know. If you want to look at the litigation, or if you want to get on PubMed, they have medical journals on there about all the health risks.
Okay, that's what I'm interested in. I didn't even realize we had these meters. I mean, did they just automatically hook them up without letting us know?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard Dr. Ayers on. I know you've heard Dr. Ayers.
Yeah,
he called me. But he talked about he debated with them. He didn't want them coming on his property, and they just did it.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't want them to put it in. They just came in and put it in.
I missed that. I must have missed that. I don't listen all the time, so I must have missed that.
That's been a long time.
First time hearing about it.
Yeah, he's talked about it a couple times.
Has he?
Yeah, he's talked about it a few. Not in the link that we're talking about now, but in mentioning it, he has. So
they just came in my yard and hooked this up without me even knowing about it.
Yes, they did. They published an article in the Clinton Courier in 2005 saying that they were going to, and then they have walked onto every property and serviced every single meter on every single house, regardless of the electricity that was currently there and if it was even up to par for the new technology.
What is their argument in letting people opt out?
They haven't given me one. They don't have to. They're just not.
I understand that, but
they no longer have the analog meters, he said. There's another thing. The analog meters can be reserviced. Like, they can be taken down, broken down, fixed, and put back together. Well, the manufacturer says that the smart meters are only good for 20 years, and they won't even cover them out that far. 15 years, and they can't be reserviced. They've got to be trashed and replaced. So if something were to happen to your meter, they can just come upgrade. They'll just
put a new one on it.
Exactly. Where the analog meters could be repaired, and they're supposed to be saving us all this money when the manufacturer won't cover them past 15 years. And 20 years is about all you get before they actually need to be.
Can you give me a website or two about the health risks and other risks?
PubMed is your best.
Is that PubMed.com?
PubMed?
Pub, P-U-B, Med, M-E-D.
Okay.
.com.
Yep, and you'll find, if you do a quick search on there, you'll find several of them. Just take a little
smart
gander.
Meters.
Yep.
Search for smart meters.
Yeah, 5G technology, radio frequencies. It's all there.
Okay. And I will have her contact information if you can't find whatever, and I'll put you two together if you need be afterwards.
Okay, thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, ma'am.
Calling.
Bye-bye. All right. Is there anything else you want folks to know?
Just that I don't plan on going away if I don't get that seat in July 1st. So the mayor is the sole appointer.
And what did Mayor Burton say? What was his?
He hasn't made his decision yet. That he'll see.
Okay.
But if he doesn't, then I let him know at the city council meeting that I would run against him in November. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. And if I need, a slam door is not an option for me at this point. I'm not going away. I'm raising my children here.
So is the absolute only answer you'll accept an opt-out?
No, I would prove it to me with a third-party EPA study, and that's what I said to them.
That's easy.
They said no, that they wouldn't be doing any of that.
That's simple. I mean, that's easy.
And you can go back and watch that. That's public record on their meetings.
Yes.
Where they straight told me no.
And did they tell you why they said no?
No. Because it's so de minimis. My concerns were so de minimis. The health concerns were so de minimis. Everything was just so.
So it's there, but it's too small.
Yep. For them to, yeah.
They acknowledge that there's health issues, but they're too small to worry about.
Claimed health workers. I don't know what their background was in the health field. The chairman and another board member as well, that with health and medical backgrounds, and I haven't received any help from them either. And when I asked, I said, so you've got the medical background and you've never heard anything derogatory about 5G. They said, well, we're going to refer back to Greg.
Well, they've all heard something derogatory about 5G because, I mean, the cell phone that they have in their pocket right now has told us about it. I mean,
they're like, well, if you use your microwave and if you use your phone, well, you can't turn your smart meter on airplane mode while you sleep. And if it's up against the house,
you can't unplug it. You unplug your microwave. Yeah.
In apartment buildings, and the meters are all on their wall, and they got 20 of them that they're sleeping up against. And there are stories about these people out there and what they've gone through medically and otherwise. Okay. And nothing's being done. No one cares.
Good morning, WYSH. You're on Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a question or comment for our guest this morning?
Yeah, Ron, does our water meters do the same thing?
No, she was saying we don't have the electronic water meters. I do think, though, they can walk by and hold something over it and read it now. They can't read it from the office, but I do. But, no, we don't have that technology on the water meters, just the electric meters.
How they read our water meters up here, they drive up and drive up road and back down, and they drive around in the truck. They don't get out of the truck.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think they've got the wireless technology from the meter to the truck, but it's not on your house, and it's not the same as these smart boxes.
Electric truck does it too once a month.
Well, that's the electric company we're talking about. That's they don't even have to drive up. If you're on CUB, it runs right back the line, and that's how they calculate your bill, how much your box tells them at the office through the line that you've used.
I wonder why they make a trip every week, month up through here and back.
If it's CUB, are you on city water?
The CUB pickup truck goes up through here and back every month.
Are you on city water? Because CUB is both water and electricity, unless you're out.
Yeah, I'm on Anderson County Water.
You're on Anderson County Water? I don't know why they're driving up through there. Not necessarily to read the meters. They used to get out, and walk to the house and read the meters.
I know that, but they drive up all the roads here in that pickup truck once a month.
I'm not sure.
Maybe they just need a quiet place to have their lunch.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll learn something.
Maybe we will. I got a feeling we'll have I can tell you that we might just have a third party come in and look at it.
Yep.
I think. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
I don't think there's a reasonable person within the sound of my voice, including the people at CUB, that should argue with having somebody just come in and look. Because what if they miss something? What if the manufacturer missed something? What if we miss something? I mean, there's a lot of money that flows through all electric municipality, all these companies that provide electricity for cities. A lot of money, a lot of power, and it just seems to me that to err on the side of caution is the easy thing to do.
And if you've got nothing to hide, then prove it.
Well, I mean, all of these people that you're talking about have kids, some of them small kids, and boxes on their houses too.
So, ignorance is bliss.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Until you have a problem, then you don't go looking for answers.
Yes, that's my point. The easy thing to do in this situation, in my opinion, the easiest thing to do would be take some money, set it aside, and say we're going to allocate. I don't know how they find the third party, but go through the process, find a third party, let them come in and evaluate and give a report on the possibility of there being dangerous things or the lack thereof, and either put your mind at ease or acknowledge, yep, she's got a point. There is an issue here, and that'd be the end of it. Then they could either fix the issue or you could sleep better.
Look, they're willing to, is why I'm sitting here with you today.
Well, hopefully.
Yes, we can spark a change.
Well, hopefully reasonable folks will come to a conclusion that that's a pretty easy fix, or it might not even be a fix. It might create more problems than it solves. But I think that it's fair.
It's a nice first step.
I think it's fair to ask for that. I think it's fair. I don't care what you do. I think it's fair. If Ford finds out that there's something wrong with one of their cars, they recall it. They don't let you keep driving it and hope you never have to use the emergency brake. Right. And they find that stuff out through trial and error. They sold it. They didn't know it when they sold it. But they find that out. So it would seem to me that finding out, even if it's bad, would be better than waiting till whatever bad stuff that it creates
and
befalls us
up in the meantime.
Yeah. And if it's not bad, then they can hold that up and wave that every time somebody comes in.
See.
So it just seems to me that would be an easy way for me to say appease you. I don't mean to sound, but to appease the people that are worried, to say, yes, okay, we will take your concerns and we'll find a company and we'll have them come in from wherever and look at this to find out if we've got any, RF leakage, or if we've got any problem,
How close are these things to the schools? What kind of damage is it doing to these baby children that are playing outside?
Okay. 5G is going to be here, and 6G, and we're going to keep going and going pretty soon. The technology is going to get to a point.
We're not trying to live in a smart city here in Clinton.
That's kind of we like it quaint and quiet.
Exactly. Exactly. I started my politics journey 2 years ago as the chicken crusader in Clinton. You weren't allowed chickens.
You wanted chicken.
I wanted chicken. I had the chickens. Curtis came, the animal patrol guide.
Oh, okay.
He said, you don't have 3 acres. You're going to have to get rid of the birds. And I said, we'll see about that, Curtis. And at the time, my 4-year-old son and I, we collected 200 signatures on our chicken petition, and I spoke at city council twice. And you can have 6 hens now in the city of Clinton.
All right. Well, good luck to you on this instrument. I will agree with you in that I would like to advocate Greg and Todd and some of these other guys to take a serious look and or let me know why we wouldn't want to do that. Is it cost analysis? Is it that we don't have the money to do it? Because CUB is a well-ran company. It does make money. It's a very well-ran organization. And so I understand, I do. You don't. But being that it's a well-ran organization, it seems like that there probably would be funds or opportunity to do this. Sure.
So I believe it was last month's meeting. It may have been the month before that. Greg said that we could pay off all of our debts, that our utility company could be scot-free of debt this year, but they were afraid to pay it all off because the customers might think they're being charged too much. And you're welcome to go back and look at that if you don't believe me. The money's there. The money is there.
Yes.
Their concerns are not.
Well, I hope, if you are right, that we change some minds. I'm going to tell you, just with the personal relationships I have, I don't think they don't care. They may be safer with their head in the sand, maybe, like you said earlier.
100%.
But that said, I think we're past the head in the sand now.
Thank God. Praise you, Jesus.
I mean, the TV that you're on right there is in 117,000 houses. So every home that has Xfinity Comcast cable.
But this month's CUB board hearing is this Thursday at 5:30. Come and voice your concern. They let 3 people speak per issue for 3 minutes. So do some research and come support the cause and have my back. Nobody else does.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your concerns. And like I told you when you came on, not here to debate you, not here to,
I appreciate the camaraderie. I
just
appreciate
let
the
you on.
opportunity to
I would like to use my radio stations to get information out, find information for people, help people. This program's called Ask Your Neighbor because you come on and that's what you do. You ask. You ask for help. You ask for whatever. And people have answers. And so, that's what you're doing in a sense. You're asking for help or you're asking for information about this. And it's not unreasonable. Again, I've not been in all your meetings and I don't know how you've been treated fairly or unfairly or what have you, but your request on its face, without all the details of, hey, will you look into this? Because all this information says it's bad. And they say, well, it's not bad. And you say, well, look, this information says it's bad. So find somebody and decide whether this information's right or your information's right, because you've got conflicting stories. Yes. One's right, one's wrong.
And let's have some new information that's not from 2009.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, we need some up-to-date studies that we're referencing.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It was really
good
nice
luck.
to meet you too.
Good luck with all of this, and keep us informed, up to date. And I'll get Greg to come back, or I'll get them to come back, and we'll.
I'd love to be invited to that table.
We could do that.
I think it's important that all sides.
I will definitely reach out and talk to some of these guys and see if there's here's the thing. I will. Well, wait. Let me get this line. I was getting ready to say. Hang on. Let me get this first. Good morning. Do you have a question or comment for our guest this morning?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to talk to Elaine. I've followed her for many years. And it's not only the CB and TV, it's the neighbors that control your electricity.
It's the what, ma'am?
And if anybody says anything, then you're going to be tortured, you're going to be stalked. And I just wanted to put in information of what I know. Right now, I don't have any transportation because my car was stolen. And about everything about me. And I've been stalked for years, but nobody will do anything about it except insinuate that you're crazy. You need help. Let me take you to the hospital. But it's real, and I know it's real.
Okay. Well, I thank you for calling.
Okay. Thank you for having her on, and I'd like for her to get in touch with me some way, please.
Do you want to leave me your contact information, email or something? Or
I don't have email. I don't have a computer.
Do you want to give me your phone number?
You have it. I don't give it out over the phone, but I'm sure you picked it up there.
Actually, no, I didn't. But if you want to call me back after the program's over instead of giving it on the air, that's what I was going to suggest. If you would like to give us your phone number.
Okay, I'll call you back.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ms. Davis, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And like I said, I'll follow up on my end too and talk to some of the folks that I know and some of the folks that I trust. I really do I really do trust some of these people, and I feel like that an honest conversation and just some fresh eyes is not too much to ask.
Amen.
Even of very good friends of mine, they might get mad at me for saying that, but.
Well, if they're your real friends, then
they're not going to get that mad at me. They'll say something like, "Ron, you beat us up this morning," or something like that.
That was me.
Yeah. True. Thank you for coming in, and I hope that you'll keep us up to date. I will. Before you leave, let me give you Dr. Ayers' contact information, and we'll wrap things up, and maybe this lady can call us back, and we'll get her contact information. And folks, what's tomorrow, Wednesday? I don't know what I've got on Wednesday. You'll just have to tune in and see. Good morning.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor.